Hello there. Today I want to talk about the power of Gyre, the Queen of Lightning. After the old Peace update was released, along with her Prime, I've been playing a lot more of her recently, and she's been one of my favorites to take into all types of content since then. I want to showcase a build that I've been using and become comfortable with, as it deals plenty of damage, has electricity crowd control, and even survivability. Before we begin, this is a playstyle that I run because, for me, it is enjoyable. This is not the best nuke build ever, nor is it even the best build, but I like it. I also want to preface that even as I explain the power of this Warframe, that does not mean that they are perfect and flawless. I still have plenty of pros and cons to talk about, and maybe even some suggestions to fix them to make them better. With that out of the way, let's begin. First, who is Gyre? Gyre is an electric-based Warframe that uses electricity as a semi-crowd control to boost her damage and synergize with her abilities. Her passive allows her abilities to gain a flat 10% increase in critical chance per electricity status effect that is on a target. This, combined with her Cathode Grace ability, allows the critical chance to stack up to a maximum of 300% ability critical chance, making her excellent at dealing damage with her abilities. When an enemy has at least 11 electricity procs, she will start dealing orange crits, and red crits at 21 stacks. Very easy to get with all of her abilities. Her first ability is Arc Sphere. She throws a sphere of electricity that shocks enemies that are standing within the sphere itself. If the Arc Sphere hits at least 3 enemies before it expands, it will double its damage. She can have up to 3 out at a time and will stay wherever it landed or manually expanded for a duration. Coil Horizon is her second ability. She throws a ball of electricity towards enemies, and after a few seconds, it will explode and draw enemies in. You can manually detonate it earlier or let it expire. It also has knockdown. This can be used to group enemies into Arc Sphere and stack even more electricity status effects. Her third ability is Cathode Grace. When cast, you gain an increase to your critical chance, and you regen energy over time. This applies to both her abilities and weapons. Be warned, however, when you do cast it, it goes on an immediate 60-second cooldown that only shows if you haven't been in Cathode Grace for 60 seconds. Every kill increases the duration, and the cap is 60 seconds. So as long as you kill enemies during this period, it will stay up forever. And finally, her ultimate ability, Rotor's Well. While this ability is active, Gyre's critical hits from weapons or abilities summon up to 2 electrical discharges that chain up to 5 enemies. She also gains a movement speed buff and shocks enemies within a small radius around her. After shocking an enemy, it goes on a quick 1-second cooldown before producing additional electrical discharges. She is one of the most enjoyable Warframes I have played. She's strong and deals a lot of damage. However, she is missing a lot of quality of life in her kit, which makes her augments a kind of a must-have. Her augments are very powerful and definitely should be slotted in when thinking about playing her. You can get all of them from either the Arbiters of Hexus or the Parent Sequence Syndicates, each costing 25,000 standing. The first augment is Conductive Sphere. It grants electrical damage and electric status damage when you shoot through the sphere or while inside of it. You can also shoot through multiple spheres and get more damage from each one as well. Coil Recharge makes it so Coil Horizon can be recalled when you recast the ability without it exploding. When recalled, enemies take electric damage, of course. However, something the mod itself does not point out is that it discharges every 4 seconds in a 5-meter radius. And every 15 meters traveled, it discharges to an additional enemy and reduces the discharge timer by 0.25 seconds. So for example, if you hit 8 enemies and it reduces it by 0.25 seconds, it will reduce the timer by 2 seconds. It can also be hit with a melee attack to send it away from you, enabling you to recall it again at range multiple times. My favorite augment, Reverse Rotor Swell, allows Rotor Swell to redirect a maximum of 75% damage back to the attacker. On the wiki, however, it does say that is damage reduction instead, which is different due to damage redirection affecting your overguard and giving status immunity. Her final augment, Cathode Current, allows for Rotor Swell to release an additional discharge, increase the damage by 200%, and extend the duration for each kill. Most of these augments are amazing. However, I do agree with majority of players that some of these are band-aid mods and should belong in base kit. For now, I slot them in regardless and have a lot of fun with them. Now, how should you build Gyre? Well, I will show you my build and explain why it works for me. If you have a better build that dumps everything into strength, that's great. But I want to showcase how I build her and explain why I build this way. For most of my Warframes that I have with poor survivability, I go for a shield recharge build. I use fast deflection and vigilante vigor, which gives me a 0.2 second recharge delay. Both of these mods, along with the new Arcane Expertise, gives me 388 shields a second while recharging. I also have Arcane Aegis, which gives an additional 30% shield recharge, allowing me to gain up to 400 shields a second. There is also a hidden stat for the Aegis that sets your recharge delay to 0. So if Aegis procs, you are practically immortal, and having that with a shield mod such as Prime Redirection makes that extremely useful in situations when it does proc. While yes, you could just equip Rolling Guard and subsume Pillage over her first or second, I don't like playing like that, so that is what I use and I'm comfortable with it. I also have 3 of her augments on as well. Cathode Current makes it so Rotor Swell is constantly up, Reverse Rotor Swell, to me, is a must-have for her survival, and Conductive Sphere is free damage, so I slot it in. That only leaves room for 2 mods for duration and strength. I use Primed Continuity and Blind Rage. Getting more duration is always a plus, and Blind Rage for the highest possible strength bonus mod for 1 slot. I also use Growing Power in my Aura slot for an extra 25% strength. If you don't have that, you can use Corrosive Projection instead. If this build isn't your style, I came up with another one that utilizes range and focuses more on Rotor Swell, strength, and armor/shield stripping with Pillage. I've also equipped Rolling Guard for those panic moments when your shields go down. I'll leave that one up on screen. And before I get comments on why not use Archon Stretch, which makes it so that abilities that deal electric damage give you +2 energy for 5 seconds. This does not stack and gives a total of 10 energy. She already comes with a form of energy regen that is much stronger, and it's costly of a 16 capacity. For Archon Shards, I personally use 2 Tau Forge Blue Shards for 150 max energy, 2 Tau Forge Purple Shards for 30% ability damage on enemies affected by electric status, and finally a Tau Forged Amber Shard for the casting speed. For weapons, that is up to personal preference. However, I do suggest using a secondary with Secondary Fortifier for extra protection and status immunity when you shoot Eximus units. You could also use Conjunction Voltage on your secondary to gain up to 120% multi-shot and 60% reload speed for your weapon when shooting an enemy affected by electric status. Personally, I like using the Furus Incarnon with the Stormburst evolution to get 120% more multi-shot as well. Focus School or Talon Strike is also up to personal preference, but I suggest trying out Yunaru's Talon Strike Kogron. The reason for this is that it has a hidden ability when activated that makes any damage you deal strip 25% of enemy armor and shields for 30 seconds. This includes abilities as well. While Gyre already deals plenty of damage on her own, it's still great to have a little bonus. You could also use Motorized Tauron Strike, Thara, which can summon exploding arrows every 0.35 seconds. My only change to her kit would make Rotor Swell have its duration extend with kills, just like Cathode Grace. She's great at controlling the battlefield with all of her abilities, spreading tons of electricity status effects and grouping enemies together to be shocked with Rotor Swell. I think she is one of the most insanely strong Warframes, and if I were to ever make a tier list, she would definitely be an A tier. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions about any of the builds, please leave a comment. As always, thank you for sticking around till the end.